This is everything you need to know before you start
Everything.
dating. Everything in the world. Just
It will be 3 hours long, and we're going to talk about 150 things.
Kristen was just commenting like, this isn't everything you need to know, so I was like, I'll pretend.
Don't judge a video by its title.
This is actually a question one of you asked. You asked, what do I need to know or what should I know before I start dating? And that's a really good question, because it's like, that season's going to come. There's going to come a time where you're like, I kind of need to get into relationships so I can get to know someone, so hopefully I can get married.
Or someone's asking you out, and you're like, oh, am I ready for this?
Yes.
Is it the right timing?
I mean, that is confusing.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Wait, before you jump in, I have something to say before you jump in. I just have to say this, that our 8-week mentorship course, it's an 8-week online mentorship course. We only offer it twice a year. We're offering it this fall. It is about to get here, and registration will close September 6th, and you will no longer be able to join us. This is one of our favorite things.
Yeah,
so it's like
true.
We walk alongside you as your mentors, digging into different topics. Every week you have weekly videos that you're watching, homework, your weekly Zoom calls with us and all the other class attendees, a private Facebook group to like keep up during the week. You make new friends, you grow, you're encouraged, there's accountability.
It's an awesome time.
I had like a little thing, almost like a song going. It's amazing. We cannot encourage you enough if you feel like you're in a place where this would be something that would help you grow spiritually and just be such a boost in your faith. Come and join us. We would love to get to know you personally. You can find out more details at girldefined.com/mentorship. Come on. It had to be like the pause. Mentorship.
Okay. Before we jump in, though, I thought it would be fun to share an awkward dating story, because when you start dating or start intentionally dating, you know, whatever you want to call it, it's not all just easy, and it's not like perfectly smooth and everything's not great. So
awkward dating stories are the best.
Yes, and I consider myself to be pretty good socially, and like I can handle like situations and can carry conversations. So before I got married, I went out with a guy, and he was a great guy, really, really, really great guy. And he picked me up, very gentlemanly. We went to dinner and had a great night. I was kind of like, I don't really feel like we totally connected. And we were driving home, and I was like thinking in my head, he must have had a horrible time.
Why did you think he had a horrible time?
Because we're sitting there, and it's like a 20-minute drive home, and he did not say a word. I tried to ask a question or two, and I got basically hardly a response. That I was like, okay, he is giving me.
He hates me.
He's giving me a clear signal that he thought I was terrible. There's no need to continue the conversation, and so we're.
But did you feel like the evening was awkward? Like when y'all were at dinner?
I feel like it was typical, like nothing weird or unusual. I mean, I didn't throw insults at him. You know, I thought we had a decent time. I didn't feel like we connected necessarily.
Okay.
Like I didn't feel like it was like he was the one, or we were going to get married or anything like
the
that.
ultimate,
but I felt like it went okay. So I was just like, why is it so silent? And for an extrovert, like talker like me, it was painful. But then we got home, and to my shock, he told me how he really wanted to pursue a relationship with me. And so I was like,
and then he had such a wonderful time.
And he really liked me. And so it was just an awkward situation all around. So just know, if you have a really awkward situation, you're not alone. That's not advice. Just maybe be prepared for a little bit of awkward.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that he didn't like you or have a good time with you.
You just never know.
Okay, so what though, before you go on that first date, or if you're watching, or think back, let's think back before we started dating. What were we thinking? What were we trying to grow and learn? And what questions did we have? Because knowing how to prepare to start dating is a big deal.
Totally.
If you're not married, you're thinking about it. Well, you're thinking about it, right? We were thinking about it. So I think one of the things that we get asked a lot and that we wondered is when should I start dating?
That's a really
when is a good time? Okay, you see a lot of girls who are literally 11, 12, 13 start dating. Okay, that seems kind of young, but is that a good idea? Then you see some who wait till they're way older and you're like, ooh, I'm not so sure about that. So for us, I mean, in a nutshell, and we talk about this in our book, Love Defined, but really I think what it came down to is that we wanted to date intentionally, not to just kind of mess around and have fun. We didn't want dating to just be an activity, but really a road that led somewhere. And for us, we wanted that road to be discovering if this person was someone that we were interested in getting to know for the potential of marrying them. So more of an end goal in mind to even start the relationship. So for us, when we were 13, were we ready to get married?
No.
Were we ready to think about marriage?
And it's not that you're saying I'm going to marry that person.
Exactly.
You're just trying to discover, should we get married or not?
Right. That's the point of a romantic relationship. It's a journey to discover that together. Sometimes you discover date one, I could not spend the rest of my life with this person. I'm not even interested in discovering more. Not going to work. Okay, fine. So for us, we just decided, let's wait until we're a little bit older, a little bit more mature, to a point in our lives where we can actually think about the future and think about, maturely, could I even be interested in this person? So we didn't really start dating till I think
I was 19.
Yeah, so like right after high school.
Yeah, it was
Kinda
right
same
after high
timeline
school
for me.
Yeah, because neither of us, I think, felt like we were ready to put that much focus on like, I'm really ready to consider marriage at this point. We were not quite ready, I think, till post-high school.
We were like shooting hoops.
We were playing basketball. So that was for us a good time, but it could be a little bit different.
Yeah. So what are some other ways though? Because even before you decide, okay, I think I'll start dating or consider dating, like maybe at this point, how can they prepare?
Yeah.
Like, how can we prepare for this?
Yes. I mean, obviously, like you mentioned, the mentorship course, but I think getting a mentor, whether it's doing our mentorship course or finding someone in person, a godly older woman, even someone who is married, who could say, hey, like, here are some great things that you could work on. Let's talk about what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are, like, maybe let's do some great books together and talk about it. Let's study the word together. Let's learn what it even means. What is biblical marriage all about? What does it even mean to be a wife and maybe a mother one day? Like, you can start learning those things when you're single. You don't have to wait until you're married to start learning about, like, being a godly woman and being a godly wife.
Right.
Prepare ahead of time. So take that seriously. If you're 14, 15, 16, 17, like, find someone who can help you grow into godly womanhood. I think that would be huge.
And
that's
let's name a few resources that we would highly recommend. So Love Defined. I mean, seriously, y'all, it is like the book we wish we had when we were 14, 15, 16, like teens and older, to grow in our understanding of like romance and what God's word says. So Love Defined, if you haven't read it, totally check it out. I think you will love it. Some other ones like Not Yet Married. That's a really great one.
The Sacred Search is really good. Some non-relationship books, though, to help you prepare. Lies Young Women Believe, if you're like a teen. And then Lies Women Believe, if you're like, I'm more single, I'm kind of ready to get married. Both of those, amazing. And then Girl Defined, a great one to really unpack like what womanhood is all about. So those are some, if you're like, I don't have anyone to mentor me, but I need some resources now, like grab those and you are going to be on your way.
Yes.
Okay, maybe a few other quick little tidbits.
Okay. I think it can be so, like, when you're thinking about dating and you're in high school or you're young, you're unmarried, I think it can be easy to become almost hyper-focused on that.
That's a good point.
And, like, to neglect your friendships and just growing spiritually, like you said, growing in general, pouring out right where God has you. So I think doing all those studies, like learning and growing, and really the character you have, we always say this, the character you have before you get married is the character you're going to take with you into your marriage. So growing spiritually, maturing as a person. But while you're thinking about, okay, what I need to know before I start dating, I think that building super solid friendships that are going to encourage you, push you closer to the Lord, for like girl friendships where you're not just like focusing on guys, but you're building these friendships, because on the other side of marriage and in dating, you need those too. You need that support. You need those godly people speaking into your life. Especially when you start dating, you do not want to fly solo. Like, it's just me and this guy and we're figuring things out. You want godly friends, godly mentors, parents, like people involved, looking in, helping you, guiding you, giving you godly wisdom.
Okay, I have a good one. And this is really important. They, you know, what's the saying? Like, where there's no vision, the people perish, or if you don't have a goal, you'll hit it every time. Like, basically, I think a huge problem is that you don't know what type of guy you want to end up with. And so you end up going out with people or dating people that really aren't good potential, like, you know, someone you would want to spend the rest of your life with, because you're just not sure. You're like, well, he's nice. I mean, he asked me out. He's interested. I mean, I don't want to be old and single, so I mean, might as well go out with him. Like, no. Like, you want to consider getting to know someone who at least has a few basic things in line. Like, do you know that he is a Christian? As a Christian girl, that's so very important. The Bible is very clear about that. So you want to make sure that you have some of that foundation, and not that he's just a Christian in name only, but does he go to church? Is he like, does he have a personal relationship with Jesus? You know, what do the people that know him say about him? Does he have, like, not that reputation is everything, but maybe it's well known, like, oh, he's not such a great guy. Like, he's done some sketchy things, you know? Like, you can just ask a few people around you to tell you, like, hey, what do you know about this guy? I mean, just learning a few basic things about him and having a vision, like, I want to marry someone who, you know, is committed to his relationship with God, who is committed to, like, working things out, who, you know, just a few things like that will really help you. And I know we keep saying Love Defined, but in Love Defined, we share all about that, like what to look for in a guy. So it's not that you're making a list, but at least think through so you can know from the beginning, should I even say yes to going on a date
what are
with this
some
guy?
of the things that we were thinking about? Because they're probably wondering, like, okay, but what does that look like?
Smoking hot.
Like you already mentioned, like a Christian, and not just Christian in name only, but like by his actions, you can tell he genuinely, but like maybe even some practical things. Like, I know we were both kind of interested in seeing, like, dating a guy that seemed to be a good leader. Like, he has a backbone. He knows what he believes. He can lead. He's personable. Like, he has good relationships with those who are close to him or his family. Or how does he respect like people that are in leadership? Like, there were certain things that I remember I was looking for when I met Zach. I didn't know all the things about him, but I could see some of those qualities that I really admired.
I mean, something important to me was like, does he respect me and our like physical the boundaries? Like, does he respect that, or is he wanting to push the limits and say, oh well, you know, like I don't really care about that, you're so lame? Like, I wanted someone who was going to say, yes, I am committed to saving sex for marriage, and also to like honoring the boundaries and that part of our relationship, and not always like trying to pressure me. I think that is not a good sign.
Yeah, and I think that's something I actually want to say is about like the sexual desire and like sexual longings, because that's something every one of us has. God made us sexual. And I think if you're in a place where you're thinking about dating, but maybe you're really wrestling with sexual purity, and you're really wrestling like with your thoughts and your actions, and you're like, wow, I have all these longings, and I know I'm not honoring the Lord in my thoughts, and I need some help. Like, I need some discipleship. Then I would say probably not the best time to start dating, because you enter in that romantic relationship and it's going to be like passion soaring, and it's going to be so hard to like stick to what you know is honoring to the Lord and like honoring to this other guy. And so that's something I would say as you're thinking about dating is like, where is your heart just with sexual purity and like before the Lord, and really taking time to, you know, even reading like Sex Purity and the Longings of a Girl's Heart, like listening to solid godly like podcasts that are helping you understand what is God's design for sexuality. How do I really take these strong passions and like honor the Lord in them and like gain some self-control. And, you know, there might be like, you might just need to take a season to really grow in that before you enter a romantic relationship.
What's that other book by Heath Lambert that talks
Finally Free.
Finally Free. That's another
a
great one. If you're like, I'm struggling and Sex Purity Longings, maybe I've read that, I need more. Finally Free is great, especially if you have like porn struggles or masturbation. Just understanding how to deal with that is a really
and how to find freedom and to walk in freedom, because that's what you want, to be walking in a pattern of freedom before you really enter that romantic relationship, because I guarantee it's not going to get easier on the other side.
We're having fun talking about this, but we do have to wrap it up. We have talked about everything you could want to know about dating, preparing for dating. Go grab Love to Find Her. Just go to our website, girldefined.com.
Did you say we have talked about everything?
We have. Not now, but like in the past.
I'm like, no, there's so much more I want to say.
No, not this second, but like over the past few years, we've talked about so much. We've literally written books on this stuff, and there's so much there are free resources we've offered. So either scroll the YouTube archives or go to girldefined.com. And you can find so many free resources to help you. We just have so much stuff to give you, and we want to equip you. So go check that out. Head on over to our Instagram page at Girl Defined. That's where we're going to carry on this conversation. Go click on the comments over there, engage with us, follow us over there, and we'd love to interact and chat with you there. Until next time, we'll see ya.